Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and another good morning. Top of the AM, it's a Monday morning, day after a holiday, right? We know most people celebrated Easter, right? So let's just get right up into this message that I have today, right? So for me, the word of the day is Surrect. That is why I titled this thing such and such, right? So for people to understand what Surrect is, let's get the definition. Surrect is an obsolete it's an obsolete word in today's English, right? It's an adjective that is used to mean to be upright or to raise. It is derived from the Latin word surrectus, meaning arisen or raised. While surrect is not commonly used today as its roots surrigere, Latin for to arise, is found words like resurrect and to a resurgence, right? Why am I talking about this today? I am talking about this today because there are there were millions of people yesterday went on out there to a church, whether it was a Catholic church, a Christian church, or whatever have you, to celebrate Easter, right? For those that's in the Old Testament, it's simply Passover week. But for the Christians, the Catholics, and things like that, they today celebrate, or yesterday they celebrated the resurrection of Jesus, who is also known as the Christ. I'm a little upset, everybody. So I don't know if people are going to expect what needs to be said, but let's just go there, right? Okay, so everybody celebrated, Jesus arising from the dead. He had a resurrection, right? So my question to everybody that went to church, was there a resurrection within you? What do I mean was there a resurrection with you, right? This is my thing with religion in totality, right? Whether we agree that this story is true, if it's a fact, or it's an allegory, or it's a fable, or whatever it is, there's a meaning behind this story. And the fact that millions of people who normally don't go to church got up yesterday, put on their Sunday best, got their children ready, had them put on their Sunday best. They went on out there and went to uh, early Sunday masses and services because they wanted to. They know the story of Jesus resurrecting. He resurrected. He risen again. But once again, my question is to you: did you have a resurrection in your life? Right. The problem with it is that they tell you that Jesus rose, right? But they made it a thing, but nobody followed the process of the resurrection. What do I mean? Nobody followed the process of the resurrection. A resurrection occurs because you had to again arise. There wasn't another arising in Jesus' life. If we understand how Jesus got to his second resurrection, right? In the religious aspect, they they only view it as one. So how could he have done it again? Right? But in my understanding of what I've read about Jesus in that very same Bible, right? We understand that Jesus was found in Egypt at the age of 13, studying the ways of the Egyptians, right? His parents had to go on down there. Yo, excuse me, boy, it's time to come. It's time for you to come on home. Your mother and father is looking for you. I'm paraphrasing the story, but he's simply like, okay, they looking for me. All right, no problem. They take him out of Egypt. But if we notice after that age, there's a whole bunch of story missing. There's a whole 20 years missing from Jesus. Where did he go? He went to go study. He went to go uh uh have a surrection in his life. Me, I'm gonna use a word that's not comfortable for a lot of people today. That word is going to be insurrection. Now we know what insurrection is when somebody uprises against a government, right? But what the government, as far as the judicial, the laws of a land, the rules and regulations of a country, an establishment of the outside. I'm saying there should be an insurrection going on inside of you. There should be a rising going on inside of you, right? And a lot of us don't take the time to examine ourselves to see if we are on the rise to understanding. We don't take the time to observe ourselves to say, are we truly developing? Are we truly growing within ourselves to have an understanding that we can have an overflow from the inside out? Are we understanding that there must be a resurrection, insurrection inside of me? Once again, for people that are coming in right now, what up, though? Shout out to the word, my 33 brother. I am saying the word insurrection because there has to be an arising, an awakening inside of you in order to become the best version of yourself. So my word is going to be insurrection. So when you hear me say insurrection, before anybody go crazy, before anybody has a problem, when I'm saying my insurrection is not the literal definition of insurrection that you know of today. I'm saying there should be an insurrection going on within you, right? Because if you understand the ways that Jesus had to have a resurrection, that means he had done it before. The problem is a lot of us don't understand how he's done it, and we're supposed to be doing it every day, right? If you are a Christian, you're supposed to be walking in that walk, right? Because you said that you are following the ways of Jesus, who is also called the Christ. So you should be following that, right? For those of you that don't understand what you're supposed to be doing to be a Christian, because religion has told you that Jesus uh, 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 has a resurrection. But the religion aspect also tells you, in order for you to be like Christ, you must be born again. If I'm lying, I'm flying, right? But let me tell you something. If you have to be born again, that means you have to go through the process of being a childlike person, of having someone else develop certain things into your mind in order for you to become Christ-like in the religion of Christianity. But if you're Christ-like already, you understand that the resurrection is for you, and that the resurrection is spiritual more than religious. What do I mean by that? What I'm saying is, if you understand that there is a spirit that is within you, right? And if you understand that all you have to do is take the time and go inside of yourself and look and see how spiritual you are, you will understand why the resurrection is important into your everyday life. It is important into your everyday life because it has been buried for so long within you that you have to resurface it. You have to resurrect the spirit that is what's inside of you, right? And for me, that is what Jesus has done in the story for me. He has allowed me to say to myself, you know what? You already knew what was inside of you already. So your resurrection occurs because you are resurfacing the spirit that God has given you that was already inside of you. It has risen again. It's for some people you might call it a revelation, right? Because we all know there's nothing new under the sun. But if you're born again, this is all something new to you. This is why you have to understand why spirituality and religion they cannot truly exist, because while you're over there being born again, as the religion has asked you to become, you would understand that it goes against everything spiritual that is within you. Why? Because if you understand that God has given a piece of himself into you, you would understand you would have to resurrect to find the spirit that is within you instead of being born again. I know everybody wants to be baptized in the name of Jesus. You have already been baptized in the name of Christ. It's a difference. You understand the difference? Let me help you understand the difference. The difference is when you are understanding that you have been baptized in Christ. You don't have to be born again. You have to reserve. You have to resurrect it. You have to have the uprising of that spirit to be found within you. This is one of the reasons why I tell you you are a storehouse. This is one of the reasons why I'm telling you you are the church, right? But the religious aspect is only going to touch on it. Stop touching on things and go inside and develop what you already have, right? Somebody told me when they went through a fast, there was a humility in the spirit, and they said that their flesh was weak. And I had to tell the person, you know what that means? That means that when you are weak, then you are strong. That is part of that is the religious aspect of what they're saying, but it's also the spiritual part, because there's a war going on inside you. There's an insurrection going on inside of you with your spirit and your flesh. Your flesh is in the religious aspect. Your spirit is spirituality. It's the basic thing, or the basic way that I could have the battle within going on to describe what's going on in your life. If you are a believer, you are fighting the spiritual aspect of your life against the religious aspect of your life, right? Because you're tugging and pulling. Well, let me use a scripture that suits me religiously. No, if you apply it to your life, it'll touch your spirit. It'll sizzle in your spirit to where you say, you know what? I understand that this is not just a religious practice, but it's an everyday way of life. I have to do this every day, right? As many people pray on a daily basis, are they praying for the religious aspect, or are they praying because the spirit is telling them how to pray, right? You cannot pray you cannot pray in doubt. You cannot praise in doubt. Why? Because it's not going to be received, because you're already half stepping in a situation that you should not be half stepping in. It's time for your insurrection to allow you to see, I must know that whatever I am seeking, I am going to find it. Whatever door I go through, if I knock on it, it will be open. If not, some way, somehow, some form, some fashion, that there's going to be a breakthrough, that the door is going to be open for me, and I can shut my old door as far as the religious aspect. But I'm not here to convince you about being religious. I'm just telling you what happens if you are spiritual. If the religious aspect should lead you to spirituality, but in today's world, a lot of us is living a religious aspect because we are looking for things to suit us on the outside instead of something that is resurrecting within our bodies, which should be our spirits and the connection between the spirit and the soul, right? We have so many people just saying, you know what? I know Jesus rose from the dead. But do you understand that Jesus was having a battle at that those 3 days before he arose? On that cross, do you truly understand that he was saying, my God, Why is thou forsaking me? Oh, wait a minute. The Spirit's telling me, let your will be done. There was a battle. He was having an insurrection moment within himself on the cross, with his hands being nailed to said cross, and the piercing of his side. Scorp, good morning. And the piercing of his side, and the nails in his feet, right? And even afterwards, we had Doubting Thomas come through and say, I don't believe it happened. And he turned around when he saw Jesus. Jesus said, well, greater is those who believes in what they didn't see. In other words, your spirit may not see everything in the physical, but if your spirit is on the stage of resurrection, they will know that it's the spirit will know that there has to be a rise in them each and every situation that comes. Is it an everyday thing? More than likely it is. Just like you got to see things to believe it, the spirit telling you you have to feed me so I can have a resurgence or a resurrection or an insurrection to defeat the worldly outside of my flesh. Right? But we so busy worrying about what's going on in today's world, right? I know people right now are grieving around the world, right? For those of you that are not informed about what's happening in the news today, they said the Pope has gone on and passed away at the age of 88. Right? He lived an abundant life. Right? They said uh, uh, he was for the people of the poor. I don't want to sound rude. I don't want to sound like I'm going crazy, right? But if he was a people for the poor, he kept them poor. What do I mean he kept them poor? Because he had the greatest access to allow people to have a resurrection moment in their lives. How do I know? Because he was a gatekeeper. He had a whole Vatican stored of books that will help your spirit to be resurrected, reinstated, insurrection to occur in people's lives. But he did not touch the storehouse. When I say the Vatican was the storehouse, they was. What do I mean? They could have resurrected people's spirits. They could have brought out those missing books that are not in said Bible, that the council in 325 AD would not put into the books for people to have understanding and knowledge of what's going on within them, because they wanted you to be religious instead of spiritual. You would have found out that the book of Mary was what it said it was going to do. You would have understood why the book of Thomas said what it said. And all the other missing, well, I'm going to say 88 because that's how they started it in the beginning with 88 books. There's more books, but I'm going to just say 88 because the Pope died at 88, right? He had the access to have abundance for each and every one of our spirits to develop into the Christ-like entity, but he kept us poor because we know that the Vatican is the gatekeepers of the religious aspect, and it has since been keeping us poor. But when you have people that that finds things for you, that give you new information, you so busy trying to kill the messenger. Isn't that what y'all did for Jesus? Because he said he's the way, the truth, and the life, right? But y'all just want to see it as a man just walking around the earth. No, follow the studies, follow what he did, understand what he had to do to gain the understanding that he has the power to lay hands on people and make them well. Why the sick people only dwelled with or wanted to touch the hem of his garment? Because his spirit was pure. It was natural. Understand why when he was baptized by John, the first thing John said, I shouldn't be baptizing you. You should be baptizing me because your spirit is so pure that there was no need for you to go through the second resurrection. Because if you don't understand that there's two resurrections, you not reading the same thing that I'm reading, or your spirit is weak and your flesh is strong. That's why you need an insurrection, because throughout those missing 20 years, he traveled throughout the world. This is what your Bible don't have. And when your Bible don't tell you what he did over those 20 years, you're not going to understand why He had his first resurrection because the Spirit told him it's time for you to develop and rise and then go out to have the trials and tribulations, the test and the testimony of the 40-day fast, which you should have been celebrating in the first place, but you were so busy just worrying about it because the religious aspect just called it Lent and they put a cross on your forehead. Jesus had to carry his cross on a daily basis. Why? Because he was on his purpose of resurrecting his spirit and still trying to be in the flesh. So we, because of our religious aspect, we so stuck on being in the flesh, we don't worry about our spirit. We don't worry about our souls. This is why so many people are walking like zombies, because they soul don't love Jesus. They don't love what Jesus set the example for. That's why he's the bread of life. That's why he's the way, the truth, and the light. For that's what he's supposed to be for so many quote unquote Christians in the religious aspect. But if you're Christ like, he was talking to you in spirit and in truth, but you're not going to understand that because you're too busy worrying about the flesh. You're too busy worrying about the roof that's over your head, and rightly so. I'm not telling you that you should not be worrying about your natural surroundings. You have to understand that if there's an overflow in you, though, the resurrection is going to tell you that the flow comes from the inside out. Your spirit is supposed to resonate your everyday walk. So while you are worrying about your house, you ain't selling your spirit or your soul out to maintain what you need to maintain here on earth. That's when the Bible tells you, be of the world and not in it, because you have to be here, right? But you don't have to be like everybody else. That's why the spirit is weak, because we're following the ways of the world. That's why the insurrection must occur in your life, right? If the insurrection happens for you, you would understand that while it's developing in you, you are now finding yourself, and the resurrection is occurring with you and not against you. We're not trying to call you Jesus. I'm not trying to say you are Jesus Christ before y'all even get to that level. I'm not telling you that at all. What I am telling you is there has to be an awakening. There has to be a rise of your spirit within you to understand exactly what that book is telling you, right? And I don't want you to be religious. I want you to be spiritual. That's why I am not a Christian. I am Christ-like. This is why I would follow the routines of Christ and go ahead and fast to see if I can just live on the word of God alone, if you understand what I'm saying. But if you don't, it's okay, because you have to set your own example. You have to plant your own seed to see if you spiritual or religious. What I'm telling you is there's a battle that's going on within you, and it's the flesh and it's the spirit. It's the religious part of you, and there's the spiritual side of you. That's why you can't be on the fence. That's why God told you, that's why Jesus said, choose today whom you're going to serve. This is why Jesus was a fisher of men, because he's telling you, you too busy worrying about the religious side of a thing instead of your spirit. This is why he called the church a house of thieves, because they're stealing your spirit in order for you to be religious and walk like a regular normal man instead of being the spiritual man that you are supposed to be. So when somebody tells you they are a divine being living in a human experience, they trying to tell you that their spirit is leading them throughout their walk as a man. Don't criticize. Take a time to examine if that person's spirit is of a spiritual aspect, or is it of a religious aspect. That's how you're supposed to serve. That's how you're supposed to view those things. But don't be defensive if he or she is not like you. Observe them. See if it works for you. See if the resurrection is occurring in that person's life, or the insurrection is occurring in their life or her life. Take the time to see who's winning. Is it the spiritual aspect or is it the religious aspect? But because some of us just go to church every Sunday, we think we are Christians instead of being Christ-like. Even if you follow Islam, you still could be Christ-like, right? Your spirit still must be on the rise. It still must be an insurrection because you still got to follow the same attributes of Christ in any religion, excuse me, if any spirituality instead of the religious aspect of it, right? This is what I was saying in the beginning when they were going through Ramadan. May Allah give you what you need. Allah was trying to give you the spiritual aspect that you need to pour out of you, that you are following the true ways of Allah. Allah is working on the outside in. God is working from the inside out. Excuse me. Allah is working from the inside out. God is working from the inside out. Jesus is trying to tell you, because if you are following me, you must have an overflow of the spirit, so your flesh could no longer be the strongest aspect of you, but it's now been bunkered down and allows your spirit to give you the way, the truth, and the life of how you're supposed to be in this life. But we are so focused on what the pastor is doing, and we singing songs and not understanding that the songs are supposed to pour understanding and spirits, the spirit of Christ within you, instead of the spirits that you got to go out to the club, right? You got to understand that Christ gave his life up to show you, like, yo, my flesh was weak at a particular time, but my spirit had to arise in order for me to defeat the death of my flesh. That's the story. But y'all don't want to hear that because you want to stay in the world, and that's cool. I am not the judge to judge you. All I'm going to do is observe you and allow myself to see if your spirit is taking over or it's the flesh. Like I said, it's not my job to tell you how to live. What I am telling you, though, that there has to be a resurrection in order for your spirit to receive what is being spoken. I can tell you that much, right? And it's not about me being right. If you apply it, it should be right. If you, that's why I ask people all the time. If you go ahead and go through the fast, for those people, I try this every year. I tell you, I will go with the fast with you. Let's go on the fast together. Let's do this. Let's have the conversation. But you are so afraid. Some people are so afraid of what the world is telling them that they won't fast. But you want to say you're Christians. You want to say you're Muslim. But every religion, I promise you this, every religion has a stage of fasting in it. But it is brushed over or swept under the rug because they want you to stay religious. When you have the insurrection, the fast is going to feed the resurgence or the resurrection of your spirit. These are the things that you need to understand, why you can have why emotional intelligence develops, why discernment develops. Do you think the discernment is of the flesh? No, it's not. The discernment is from the spirituality side of things in life. Why? Because you learn how to control your emotion. You can control the things that's not seen. And if you can't see it, it's not physical for some of you people. And there lies a problem because you got to see it to believe it. That's why the Old Testament goes so long and so far, not talking about spirituality, right? You had to see that Solomon was wise. You had to see that David had to commit the adultery, but not see the spiritual aspect of why it had to happen for them. You didn't see the resurgence of their mistake. You didn't see the resurrection after their demise because of the errors of their ways. You don't see that. You think God is looking for perfect people. No, God is looking for people that understand that their spirit needs to be reached. That's why the songs in the churches that they don't even sing no more. One of the songs is "My Soul Loves Jesus." Right? It's something on the inside that resonate, that should be lifted when you hear what Jesus has done. There should be a resurrection because of what Jesus has done for the spiritual side of it, but you only have eyes for the flesh. And these are the things that's holding people back. This is why a better you can't be a better us, because we're always looking outside of ourselves to say, who the hell's going to talk about us? Who's going to be upset if I connect with this person? And will I connect with John Doe or Jane Doe to make a better you, a better us, to have a community to where people can have comfort, to have conversations and release some of those inner conversations with themselves, because a lot of us have it, because stress is gonna bust our pipes, and not and we so living in so much in the flesh that there's no understanding of why we need to be spiritual as well. The discernment of other people, the observation is not just physical, but it is spiritual too. You don't need just your eyes to observe. You need everything to work together to get the true understanding of observation. Guess what's part of that observation? The spiritual side of you. And when you don't have that, your spirit is dead. Guess what that means? They want you to be born again instead of the resurrection, because your spirit is not dead. You gotta seek it so you can find it. This is what that book was, that little book that says the Holy Bible is trying to make you whole. The Trinity within yourself, mind, body, soul. If you understand that two of the three of the Trinity can't be seen. The only way it can be seen if it resurrects and overflows from your body. That's how you know if you're spiritual. That's how you know if your soul loves Jesus. We talking about resurrection, and we're walking around and our souls and spirits are dead. You don't even want to connect with the ancestors that's calling you, because you don't know what their spirit was in the first place. You only have the physical memory of said mom or said dad or said grandma or said granddaddy or said uncle or your elders or your ancestors. You want to know the physical side of a thing instead of knowing what got them through. And what got them through was the spirit. You think all those slaves that had to go through a situation, they got through that with just their body? They had to have faith. Faith is the substance of evidence of things not seen, things that are hoped for. That's your spirit. That's what it's telling you. Be faithful in the spirit. If you faithful in the flesh, you living in fear. Fear is the opposition of spirit. Because if your spirit was flowing, you know what? What you said ain't bothering me. Of course we're gonna have human nature. Of course we're gonna things are going to bad. That's the insurrection that's going on inside of you. But as long as you understand that that's going to happen, you have a choice. Or dare I say, that's the free will that you are fighting right now. That free will, when they took the fruit out the Garden of Eden, you could either be spiritual or you could be religious. You could be of the flesh. That's when they saw their flesh. Why? Because they was living in the spirit. And when they ate the fruit, that was physical. Now they have knowledge of physical things. That's the free will that we are really talking about. Oops, my bad. That wasn't supposed to be told. But I'm telling you, that's what it was. And if that's just my opinion, see if it works for you. Apply it and see if it works for you. These are the things that you have to understand, because if you understand the insurrection that goes on within you, it's the flesh against the religious aspect, right? I mean, excuse me, the spiritual aspect. It's your spirit against the religion. The spirit is weak right now because the religious aspect is taking over. And it's so funny that now that the religious aspect is taking over, you don't even got people going to church, because now they spirit, they soul is dead. There's no spark between you and the creator. There's no spark between you and your spirit. Why? Because you walked away from the quote unquote hospital, which is supposed to be redeeming or saving your soul or your spirit, however you want to view it. But there's few people going less and less, because you got some people telling you to close the goddamn door. We need $40,000. You need 40,000 spiritual reasons to have the resurrection go on in your life. They don't have to close the door for you. You closing the door for yourself, because you don't want your soul to receive your spirit in the first place. But that's why your spirit is weak. Your soul is weak because the spirit is not being fed. It needs its medicine. It needs the resurrection to occur to become, for your body to become the best version of itself, for the Trinity to operate in the way it's supposed to operate. Because you live in religion, you're not understanding that the spirit and soul must coexist together in order for the mind and the body to be as strong as it needs to be. This is how we get to be the best version of ourselves. This is how a better you becomes a better us, because you are a working unit. If you have a cut on your hand, you don't use the hand, but the four other hands give you enough strength until that part heals. Now you need to heal your spirit and your soul as well. I'm not telling you to go to church. I'm telling you to find a way to find out the spiritual aspect of things. Church ain't the thing. And here's the funny part: you are the church. What is the church? The church is where the spirit of God, or the spirit itself. If you don't want to have a spirit of God in you, the spirit must exist within you in order for it to be a church. Otherwise, you're just the edifice of a building. We have too many churches that are closing because the spirit of God is not dwelling there. You got the spirit of greed. That's why God ain't there. You got the spirit of lust. That's why your spirit is not on the up and up of resurrecting with its actual creator. That's why the spark is losing its spark, because you are attaching spirituality to the religious part, and the religious part is the stagnation that goes on in your life. And y'all know what stagnation do, because I tell you this every time. It kills the momentum and dreams of where you need to go. It's time for the resurrection to happen within you. You celebrating what Jesus did, but not understanding he's trying to tell your spirit to wake the hell up. Do the right thing. That's what Spike Lee said in School Days. Wake up! He's yelling for the whole consciousness for you to wake up, but you're deaf. You're deaf because your ears ain't working. Your spiritual ears ain't working. Your physical ears is hearing, but the spirit is not listening. That's why you got to continue to examine yourself. That's why the songwriter says, encourage yourself. Sometimes it takes you to examine yourself. The same way you would examine your physical body, ladies, to see if you have a lump on your breast. And the first thing you worry about is if you feel a bump, is doom and gloom. Is it cancer? Right? Now it's cancerous for us to continue to live in the flesh, in the religious aspect. And in this conversation, when I say flesh, I'm talking about the religions of life. That's the flesh. You worrying about what Pastor Jim Jones or whatever you want to call us now. I didn't mean to say a name like that. Excuse me, because if there is a Jim Jones, then you understand I can't help you with that. But the fact of the matter is, you got to find out what you need to do to resonate, how to touch your spirit. You got to find out what it's going to take for you to be the best version of yourself. And it's not in the physical, right? It starts on the inside out. If you understand that an overflow can't go outside in, that's telling you already that your spirit is the mechanism for your overflow. Your soul and spirit overflows into your body. That's where the illumination comes from. And if you're dead in the spirit, even if you have a negative spirit, if you say you got the spirit of the Antichrist, or if you have the spirit of the devil, that too must flow from the inside out. But you have to understand it all starts from the spirit. So have the spiritual war occur. Have the insurrection, or the jihad. That's what Muslim call it, jihad, that happens inside of them. You got to have that to see which spirit is going to win, is going to take over in your life, the positive spirit or the negative spirit. But whatever one wins is going to overflow from within you in the first place. So the religious aspect is just the religious aspect. They just touching on things instead of giving you the ways of enlightening yourself to overcome the situation as far as the spirituality. But if you don't have that, then you're not going to understand what it's going to take for you to become the best version of yourself. You are at war. Everybody, you need to understand, Your cross you have to carry every day is the battle of your spirit versus the battle of religion. It's time for you to arise. It's time for you to resurrect your spirit, not your body, but your spirit. Because if the spirit feel rich, the overflow is going to tell you, you know what? Maybe I do need to work on my body. Maybe I do need to go exercise this thing. The same way you have to revitalize your mind. You got to exercise your mind. That's the overflow of the spirit going into all consciousness, all aspects of your life. The overflow starts from within you, but the resurrection is occurring because your spirit is telling you it's time to wake the hell up, arise, and be the best version of yourself. But you got so many people that's just living in the flesh. They worrying about who's doing what. That's why you have to understand the marriage is always spiritual. You ain't people talk about you got to be married. Marry the spirit to what you need to marry the spirit to. If your spirit leads, you can have a marriage of the Trinity, the mind, body, and soul, and all three will become one. But if you don't know that, you're just gonna stay on the religious aspect of it. You just walking the green mile. Religion doesn't save you, your spirit saves you. That's what Jesus was telling y'all from the gate. But if you want to be born again, that's just the religious part. If that's what you want to do, you want to start from the beginning, you want to take that easy way out, be born again, you go ahead. But the resurrection of the spirit, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. It's time for you to wake the hell up and understand that the spirit gives you is the spark of life. The soul is the spark of life. Even though I know my 33 brother tells me there's a difference between the soul and the spirit, my point is this: the inside, it's what's in you that gives you the spark of life. It's what's in you that controls your body, not just the mind, but your spirit or your soul. Whatever way you're going, that gives you life. That's the resurrection that Jesus was talking about. If you don't believe me, ask yourself: wasn't the story that Jesus went down to the gates of hell when he was on the resurgence, coming back to life at the resurrection Sunday? I didn't say that. The Bible said that, right? So you got to understand, he was down there trying to lift spirits, still and all. That's what the Bible was trying to tell you. I'm just saying it out loud because you read the same thing. You was told the same thing. But when you look at it from the religious aspect, oh, well, Jesus went down and then his body arose. No, there was a brightness within him after the third day. Yeah, I wanted to see the holes in his hands instead of the glory, the illumination of his soul and spirit. That was the resurrection. And truth be told, y'all not even paying attention to that. Y'all just went on out there, put on your Sunday best, said whatever you need to say, and then became the best versions of yourselves. Y'all need to cut it out. Because like I said, in reality, uh, you need to get it together. Because that's just the truth of a thing. And when you get to the truth of a thing, you understand that it all starts from the spirit. Oh, this is pissing me off because I can't drop the link because I know somebody want to say something to me, and now I'm getting mad. But anyway, that's just the truth of the matter, y'all. The truth of the matter is, y'all went through a whole day of the resurrection, but you ain't even resurrecting yourself because you are still allowing your flesh to be in charge of your spirit when it's supposed to be the other way around. The spirit is supposed to be in charge of your flesh because that's where the overflow comes in. That's where if just because you observing wisdom and understanding that needs to develop within you, it has to be seen. But are you think you just seeing it with your spirit? I mean, with your fleshly eyes? No, you seeing it through your spiritual eyes. That's why there's an understanding. That's why when people talk about the third eye, it's the spiritual eye, meaning that eye has to be awakened. That's the top of the top. I ain't even gonna sit there and play with you. If you are Christ-like, you have to elevate yourself. You have to have the resurrection of elevation. That's what an arising is, right? An uprising is what? You have to elevate into rising. That means something has to elevate into something. That is like Christ-like energy. You have to elevate yourself to the consciousness of understanding what's going on around you. But because you live in religion, you're not understand. You just living in the flesh. You just living in the here and now, and that's the problem. We just consciously living in the here and now instead of doing what we need to do. You understand? And that alone lies. That's the problem in the first place. You're still living in the here and now instead of saying, you know what? Instead of me rising to the occasion, let me be the occasion. Let my spirit be the occasion that is rising in my life. So then it can overflow into my everyday life. That would y'all would probably call that confidence. If you want to call it confidence, call it that. What I'm telling you is, it's just time for you to be your best version of yourself. And it's not starting within you, but it's starting outside of you. And if you don't understand that, then you guys are in a world of trouble. But it's okay because you still living in the flesh. So if you still living in the flesh, then that's what's going to happen. You in the flesh. You understand? You got to deal with that. I don't got to deal with that. You got to deal with that. I don't have to deal with that. And that's the crazy part about the thing. You got to understand, in order for you to be the best version of yourself, you are going to have a resurrection that goes on within it. And that's just the God honest truth. You got to have that to occur. You understand? And until you have that, uh, you got to be at the best version of yourself. So it's up to you guys. It's not up to me. I'm stopping because I'm trying to get the link out. So y'all just got to bear with me real quick, right? Uh, I got you. I got you. Even flipped. Close that up. Close that up. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? All right, I'm back. My bad, y'all. Like I said, I was trying to get this thing, get the drop the what you call it. I'm over here trying to do two things at once, but forgive me. But like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta have the conversation. Forgive me. But like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta have the conversation. Forgive me. But like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta have the conversation. Forgive me. But like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta have the conversation. Forgive me. But like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta. All right, I'm back now. I'm back. I just had to put the link in there if anybody wanted to come up. But at the end of the day, though, like I said, you got to understand why Jesus had to go through the resurrection, why he gave his life up. That's why God tells you no greater, no greater, uh, no greater gift is this, that a man give up his life. The sacrifice of leaving the flesh in order to develop your spirit is something that many people. Is it still there? Is the echo still there? Can you hear that? Is the echo still there? I gotta cut this off then. All right, let me shut this down then. Hold on though, because I was trying to get the link. I was trying to get the link up for the people if you wanted to come up or whatever. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Mm-mm-mm. Y'all tell me if the echo's still there though. Y'all tell me if the echo's still there. I just shut the phone down. I just wanted to put the link up there just in case somebody wanted to come up. This is the evil mooks, for those of you that don't know, I had to use some of my StreamYard up to do something uh for Mr. 33, because like even when you sacrifice your time, right? You gotta understand, you gotta give. You got to give in order to receive the investment of giving, right? So that's what he did. He that's what Jesus did. He gave up his body just to be at a best version of himself. I see you. I see you.
I think you got an echo, bro.
It's still here?
But when you was talking, I heard it. I don't hear it now.
Oh no, that was me trying. I went in my phone to get the link because my computer was acting goofy. So I went and got the link. I opened the link from Even Books. You know, I don't use this. I don't use this too often. But you know, when Mr. 33 went live yesterday, they told him he kind of low on his free minutes, so he had to come on over here. So I'm over here. What up though?
Chill, chill, bro. I'm trying to get my avatar on the board.
Yeah, I see. I'm like, wait, it's offline. Well, how that work? Yeah, man. This. I'm sitting here. I'm pissed the hell off because everybody's sitting here talking about some damn pope, and he dead, and he lived this 88 years, and we know the eight is abundance, and but they talking about he the people of the poor, but he kept us poor in spirit. How that work? I'm telling you, I did. I know I was going on a fake rant today, but this just added to it because you sitting there trying to tell me that this man didn't have the access to the archives of all those missing books. He is the boss of the Vatican. If you talking about you stop living in the physical, and this is my point. They so busy living in the spirit in the physical, they don't want to resurrect your spirit. They don't want to resurrect it because they got all the books to resonate with your spirit. But they still want to keep a hush hush. They still want you to do they want you to figure it out. If you wanna enrich the poor, give them the tools that they need to become better versions of themselves. Give them the resources for them to become rich. We can find our own way. You just got to give it. But you just want the masses to be poor so you can look as wise men, as access to the enrichment of the spirit. But you gatekeepers. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand it. Oh, I see you now.
King Blackout, what up, though, bro?
You
Yeah,
know,
that's 88 years, bro. That shit, that's a seven, though, bro. I ain't gonna talk about that. Nah, I know what you're saying.
no,
But
I'm
that
just saying.
88 equals seven.
I'm just saying.
It's, it's significance to that, you know. But
They
nah,
don't
you
want.
right, though. It's like when I talk about, even like, I like how you put that. When I be telling people I'm a divine being having a human experience, they be like, "Oh, you think you God?" Like, nah, bro, I'm of God. Bro. God. I be trying to tell Christians I'm more Christ-like than you. I just follow the ways, man.
And
But
that's the insurrection that they need to have because as long as you follow the religious aspect, you can't even be a fisher of, I mean, you could be a fisher of men, but what are you having them to fish? You having them to fish the religion instead of the spirituality. This is where the insurrection has to come in. You got to understand that your spirit is at war with the religious aspect of things. Y'all think it works together, but it doesn't. Because if the religious aspect was to gain your spirituality, then the religion would be on the rise. But you got people running away from it. Why? Because you got more fleshly things that's attached to religion than spirituality in the first place. But like I said, millions of people went to church yesterday. Some people probably ain't go to church all year, but you went to celebrate a resurrection, but you ain't having a insurrection for you to understand what the resurrection is in the first place. But you know what I mean? Like I said, I knew this was gonna happen. I've been waiting all week for this to happen. And now the fact that this dude on left too, he on left to talk about the people he was the people of the he was the Pope of the poor. He kept us poor. Our spirits are still poor. Matter of fact, if you want to be honest, y'all talking about the political side of Trump and we decreasing. What do you think happened under this Pope? We decrease even more because he ain't allowed to. He didn't open the doors. He didn't open the doors to the storehouse. The storehouse in there is the book of all those books of understanding and knowledge that's back there that could feed the spirit. but you didn't want to feed the spirit. You just wanted to feed you wanted to feed the Catholics. You just wanted to feed the Christians. You wanted to feed all of the religions instead of the spirit. And now you wonder why people why spirits are down, why there's a bunch of zombies walking around, because you didn't want to ignite their spark. You didn't want to resurrect their spirit. But I I'm straight though. I ain't gonna crucify the man. The man is not here. Hopefully, his spirit knows where it's going because he's a leader. And this is why we put the examples out here for people. Okay, we give you information. If you apply it, it's right. Not me being right. Not word being right. It's just a simple fact. We put the information out there just for you to receive what you need to receive. If it applies, you ain't gonna let it fly. You gonna allow it to manifest in your life, right? This is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all want to study things. Study why your spirit is down. Study why you are poor in spirit instead of just worrying about if Diddy gonna beat this charge or whatever it is. That's irrelevant to what your spirit needs. Your spirit
Mm-hmm.
needs to be revitalized, to resurge. Go ahead though.
Hold on, my bad. I was talking to my dog. She was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
jump on my lap.
I'm just
No,
saying.
but blackout. I feel you, though, bro. That's what even practicing all these religions, man. When people, I took the essence out of what these religions have to offer, and I applied it to my life. And then people get mad because I don't claim this or claim that. Like, bro, all this shit belong to me. I'm a divine being having a human experience. All this shit is tools, bro. Y'all following the words of dead man instead of the actions. You know, people talk about they Christians, but they not walking in the light of Christ. So how you claiming something, But anyway, I ain't even gonna get. But I understand what you're saying, Blackout. That shit pushed me away. Like these people want you to follow the book, but not the actions. And that's what it ultimately lead to, and it's dominance and control.
People don't understand they live in permissive they're in permissive will, right? You're in permissive will because God is, you are alive, right? You are allowed to be alive. The divine will is to seek your spirit and your soul with fear and trembling. If you understand that your spirit and soul needs to be fed, you need to feed it. It's not a want, it should be a need. But so many people want to make the wants the need instead of the need being a need. We substituted it and put that on the back burner while we're following the fleshly desires of ourselves, the houses, the cars, the men, the women, the where the next meal coming from. But if you understand you are a divine being, you don't worry about that because you know your spirit is going to get you to where you need to get to. Your spirit is going to provide that roof over your head. Because there's an overflow that happens inside of you. It's not going to leave you abandoned. That's why the Bible tells you, I will never leave you nor forsake you, because the spirit of God is already within you. The spirit of God is already with you, not in the flesh, but in the spirit. But because we are at war with the religious side or the fleshly side, we're not understanding that the resurrection has to occur within us instead of just the story of Jesus, who y'all call the Christ. That's why if you want to be Christ like, you got to understand your spirit has to elevate. That's why we telling y'all a better you or better us. It involves elevation of the mind, elevation of the soul and spirit, and of course the elevation of your body. 2/3 of the Trinity that we all have it, is within you. So you have to go within in order for the overflow to even occur. You can't have an overflow of something outside in. It must occur inside and out. And when you understand that, you understand the overflow is coming from your soul, more your spirit, more likely than some people's soul, but it all's going to start within. So this is what I'm trying to tell y'all: the overflow starts from within, and it starts from your spirit and not your damn bodies. But I don't know. I don't know if people understand what I'm saying though. If I'm ranting, I'm ranting. I told people I was going to rant today, so I'm good.
Well, Chicago, what up, though? Appreciate well, that. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. Okay, we ain't gonna put it in there. Just go back on the list
Damn,
because I don't want you
I
to
just
start.
realized I put Mr. 33 up there. I tried to tell you I was tripping. I'll try to get that down there. Cause I knew my
Mm-hmm.
33 brother was gonna come up here and say something. I knew it. He over there,
Uh, my,
he's still mad at Dirty Dom being champion, but I ain't gonna say nothing.
that was just weird. I ain't gonna talk about that, but nah, but that be the weirdest thing. Like I be, and I always when people ask me, what I am, I always say that just to understand people comprehension level. 'Cause if I say I'm a divine being having human experience, I mean, if you comprehend, then all I'm saying is I'm living from the inside out. That's all I'm saying. It's like I live from the soul spirit aspect, and that determines my human actions or my human nature. That's all I'm saying. I don't live in the flesh, but people can't comprehend because they just be reading the book. They just read a book, bro. That's all they do, and that's why when they die, they be afraid to go to hell and shit like that.
It's because that's in the book. And like when somebody was saying, well, Jesus was baptized. I'm saying I understand that he was baptized. Y'all wanted him to be born again, but do you understand the significance? There's a reason why there's two different versions of his baptism, right? You got to understand when he was baptized, what happened? A dove came, meaning, yo, like I'm already here, but I'm doing this for your purpose. I'm doing this so you can say, you know what? He went through every attribute that the flesh has to go through, and his spirit still is on top of the flesh. You got to I don't think people understand that. This is why the spirit, right? Because John said, wait a minute, I ain't supposed to baptize you. You thought he was talking in the flesh? No, he was talking in the spirit. I ain't supposed to baptize you. You supposed to baptize me. That's how secure your spirit is. That's how on point your spirit is. That I recognize you. It's a reason why the swine said, "Hey, we know who you are, Jesus. Don't cast us out." You thought the pig was really having a conversation, or was it Legion? And if you understand what Legion is, it ain't flesh. It's the spirit of the enemy. That's what y'all call it. Y'all call it the spirit of the enemy. The pig didn't say, let me jump up in there. No, yo, you cast me up out of there and do what you need to do. But we know who you are, spirit. That's the spirit. When the spirit knows the spirit, it talks to one another. I know who you are. It's a divine thing. That's why a lot of us don't even understand we under permissive will, because we don't understand if you are divine, you can see this without even having to be spoken to. But you need the resurrection to elevate into divine will in the first place. But that's another story for another day. Why? Because everybody want to say they love Jesus, love the Christ, love the elevation that Christ had to do, love the sacrifices that he had to give up in order to be Christ. He had to give up his flesh. That's why he's not married to everybody, because he was too busy worrying about the spiritual side of things. He's married spiritually and not physically. But y'all don't want to understand that part. I'm cool. If I'm lying, read the book. It's in the book. But you have to have understanding. You have to have conscious understanding or critical thinking to critically understand what the thinking is trying to tell you. Those who have ears, let the spirit tell you what's being said to you. I'm not saying all this. The Bible tells y'all this. I'm just saying, but maybe I'm tripping though.
Bro, that's what I be telling people. Like, it's easy. Like, most people think, oh, I just gotta believe in Jesus Christ. I just gotta call Jesus Christ my Lord and Savior, and I'll be accepted in heaven. Like, that ain't what it says. It say, I am the way, I am the light. Meaning, be like me. Don't just love me and acknowledge me. You gotta be like me, bro. You gotta do the work. But that's what people, they lazy as fuck, bro. They don't want to do the work. They want to just do what they want to do, and then say, "I believe in God. I believe in Jesus." So I'm accepted. Nah, bro, that ain't how it works, man. I am the way and the way. There's no way to the Father but through me, meaning my ways, bro. You ain't got to sit up here and say, "I believe this" or "I believe that," bro. You got to do the work. That's how you get to heaven.
That's why they tell you faith without works is dead. You got to put in the work in order for the faith to elevate from believing, right? Because when you go through a testimony, You go, the evidence was the results of what you went through. So now you know how God works with you instead of for you. He got you through a situation. But until you understand that part, you just gonna believe, or you not gonna believe because you gotta see it to believe it. You gotta go through the test to get to the testimony. I understand that. But are you going to be willing to receive the results of your testimony? Right? I'm not upset with it. This is why the religious part sucks, because if you're Christ like, you could understand, like when you say people, you could understand why atheists feels the way they feel. It's because you're not religious, you're spiritual. You can understand that. You know that your job is not for them, for you to touch the hem of their garment, for them to feel your energy. They're gonna. Why do you think that more atheists come to people that's not in religion? That's why they attack religion. That's why they don't come here to attack this kind of conversation. They want to embrace it to see if they can receive exactly what's being said. If they could, if they could receive what's being said, then maybe what's being said is correct. But we always attack the messenger instead of the message, because you don't want that person to be right. I don't never want to be right. I love being corrected. This is why I tell people, if you could correct me, please correct me, because I'm not looking at myself. I know as I point my finger out, I have to do the things that I say that I do. But at the same time, I know because I'm doing the right thing, I know the results are going to be right 9 times out of 10. But it's not me. It's the receiving of the answer being correct that to apply to your life. That's when you go forward. But you got people over here playing around with religion. You got people playing around with God as if he's a toy. You want God to be a genie. You're not a genie. You're a real life person. But you got to understand it works from within you. That's why I tell people all the time, you are the storehouse. You're God dwells within you. That's what makes you the storehouse. But y'all don't want to understand that there's nothing that I can do. All I can do is have the conversation so you can receive it. If you don't want to receive it, then there's nothing I can do. I can't do nothing about that. All I can do is have a conversation. Y'all might say I'm crashing out right now. If I'm crashing out, it's because I'm getting tired. I'm tired of people not understanding. We have to work on ourselves. We have to seek our souls and spirit, right? We have to seek that, because if I want to be a better person, I know it ain't the flesh. The flesh is already established. But to overflow, it starts from within me, and it can only start from the spiritual side of me. It's not just gonna happen because I am me fleshly. No, it's going to start from the inside out. This is what I'm telling y'all the resurrection is. The resurrection is, do you reemerge in your spirit and your soul? That's the resurrection. That's what y'all went to celebrate Jesus for. That's why y'all just call him Jesus, because y'all don't understand what the Christ really is. It's an elevation to become said Christ. You have to elevate your spirit. You have to elevate your soul and spirit in order to understand why Christ is who he is. But as long as you not in the spirit, he's just gonna be Jesus to you. You're not even going to receive the message of why Christ is needed in your life. But I don't know. I'm tripping. It's okay.
And people, that's why people don't want to accept Christ as a consciousness, as a conscious level, because now they're gonna be duty to achieve that level if they walk in the way of Christ. Well, that's how you fix anything, man. It ain't hard, bro. It's just being a good person, doing the right thing, man. You ain't got to be assigned to no religion, no. You ain't got to do nothing to be a good person, bro. That's how people want to portray it. They weaponize that shit, bro. Just be a good person, man. Don't do no fuck shit to nobody. And
And in
don't do
order,
it to yourself, man. It's just love, man. That's all it really is. It's just
right, and
learn how
that's
to
what
love yourself, and you'll learn how to love other people. That'd be the
absolutely
problem. People don't even love themselves or don't respect themselves. How you expect to love or respect somebody else, man? That's why
isn't
it is in me and it just come out, bro.
Isn't that
That's real.
crazy? As you say that, you know how many people say they look for outside love because there's nothing within them? This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is where the resurrection occurs. If you don't need nobody to love you, all they can do is add to you. It will be a
And
surplus.
contribute,
And when you
right?
get a surplus, guess what that's called, everybody? It's an overflow. I'm not making listen, I'm not making this up. If that sounded complicated to you, I apologize. I'm just trying to make it understandable. If somebody adds to you, you're gonna have an abundance of. And if you have an abundance of, you will now have the opportunity of an overflow that's occurring because an overflow is nothing but abundance. This is why I keep telling y'all abundance is not just financial. But because we are in the flesh, we are in the religious aspect of things, we think abundance is financial, cash. We need to strive for that. No, strive for the abundance of the spirit to where you can have that peace to where nobody could take it from you. You got to understand what this stuff means. Everything in life starts from inside of you. Life, your life, started inside of something, inside of a seed, inside of a womb. That's just, and you was the overflow of the connection. I'm just telling y'all, I ain't trying to sound graphic. I ain't trying to sound crazy. I'm just telling y'all, when you become connected, you become, you become the overflow. Your mom, your dad had an overflow. It connected, and now you were born. I, I'm that's the natural side of things. Y'all want to? I'm not even talking about the infertilization and the whatever all that other scientific. I'm just telling you basic biology. Two things got to converge, and then the overflow becomes that third thing. That's the actual Trinity. My guy's going to tell y'all about that at another time. Mom, dad, children. That's your Trinity, but it's an overflow of mom and dad. Well, y'all want to call it an overflow of love? That's what y'all want to call it. It's still an overflow. An overflow of lust? That's what y'all want to call it. It's still an overflow, but it all starts within you. But that's why you got to have duality. But I ain't even trying to talk about duality. I'm just trying to tell y'all, you got to resonate. You got to resurrect yourself from within. Not look outside of yourself. Look within yourself. And if you can't find it, look inside yourself. Everything that you need to prosper is already within you. You have an overflow in you. You just got to activate the gifts that God has given you, or to activate the gifts that you was born with. Right? Some people are great motivational speakers. Some people are great teachers. Some people are professionals at sports. Whatever the gift is, you got to activate it, but it's already within you. It's not coming out of the sky. Y'all still looking for manna, and you don't even understand that the manna is already stored within you. You got that already. Y'all want to keep looking outside. There's nothing I can do. I'm not even gonna implore or beg. I'm telling you to take the time to study yourself. See what you need to receive. If something missing, why don't you go ahead and look for it? Y'all know y'all got junk drawers, right? In your kitchen. Y'all put the ketchup, the mustard, and all that other stuff in there, so you have an abundance of that. It's like that with all the gifts that you have. You have an abundance of it. Go inside yourself and open up your quote unquote junk drawers. There's nothing junky about it. It's time for you to clean it up so you can find the gifts that you need. But in order for that to happen, you have to resurrect yourself. Then you will understand why the resurrection of Jesus, it should be important to you, because he tried to tell you, in order for you to be your best version of yourself, you have to resurrect your spirit. You have to have the insurrection in your body to surge your spirit to elevate to where it needs to be. That's all a surrection is. But they gave you an insurrection is against the government. No, you need an insurrection within your government, your body. Isn't the government a part of the body of a country? Now you have your own body. Have an insurrection within yourself. Seek it so you can find it. Because if you ain't looking for it, you ain't gonna find it. Find your spirit. Seek the spirit so you can find it. Otherwise, you're gonna remain in permissive will until it's time, to check out. I want everybody to be the best version of yourself. And the best version is to find some divinity in you. You may not elevate to the highest consciousness of Christ like, but if you allow the spirit to dwell and develop in the things that it need to, it won't be your weakest point. It'll be your strongest point, and then you can control your flesh. That's what you need to do. That's what part of the resurrection is for me. Now, if I'm not describing it right, I apologize. But this is for y'all. Like I said, I understood what it said. That's why when you go through a fast, you got to sit still. You have to see it, right? You may not see it with the physical eye, but you, oh damn, I am lacking over here. I do need to find a way to have peace. I do need to find a way to have a better understanding of why people are connected to me that don't need me, or that need me. You got to have that, and it's not an abusive situation. They're not trying to steal the energy from you, but they just want to cling to you because you have that divine energy, right? You don't go to the doctor when you sick. I mean, when you're healed, you go to the doctor when you sick. The only reason why you don't want to go to the doctor when you sick is because you are afraid that it's worse than what you already think it is. That's how it is with your spirit. You afraid because you afraid that the outside world is going to tell you that you think you better than me. I don't care if I'm better than you. I need that resurgence in my spirit so I can be the best version of myself. If you don't like it, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem. I'm just saying.
You said a whole lot, bro. It's like 3 points. I want to hit. I ain't in the crib, bro, so I ain't ready to hit
Go
this.
ahead. You got
But it's
listen. You got it.
but no, even the resurrection aspect, like I try to keep seeing something. But shit, even the fertilization aspect, I can break that shit down because if anybody know how embryos are planted, bro, the sperm don't do nothing. Really give off a spark to jumpstart everything. That's the divine spark right there. Not even getting into that, but the resurrection aspect, man. Keep it simple, bro. The old you gonna die for the new you to take something. The old you don't die, all those things that hinder you, hold you back. Then the new you can never take shape. It can never come to. You constantly be battling the old and the new. That's what people go through. You know, they want to hold on to that old part of themselves instead of embracing the new part of themselves.
And that's all I'm trying to tell everybody. Like, yo, oh, that sounds like something else we would say. It sounds like you saying you don't look at the sacrifice, look at the investment.
Look at the lesson.
Listen, man. I try my best to make sure everything that I put out here, there's a connection to each and everything that I try to leave. It's like me trying to leave a trail for people, right? It doesn't. I promise you, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I'm just using what was given to me to leave a trail for somebody if they happen to be lost. This is how I found my way out, right? Yes, I still can. You still could love Jesus. I'm not telling you not to love Jesus. You have to understand why you love Jesus, because they told you that Jesus is the Christ. If Jesus is the Christ, you got to understand exactly what he did. You can't just skip from from 30 to 33. What happened before that? This is the second resurrection for Jesus. This is what I'm telling y'all. The first one is when he was in Egypt and they had to find him. Like, wait, how does a 13-year-old just go to Egypt and his parents don't know where he at? He went to go find. He went to get a surgeon, awakening. He had an awakening in the first place, and then said, "All right, y'all want me to go with these people? All right, who is my mother? Who is my father? I'll handle that later. I ain't gonna disrespect you. I'm gonna keep it pushing." And then left again. That's why 20 years of Jesus' story is not in the Bible. I'm telling y'all this. If you don't believe me, y'all go through the Gospels. Y'all tell me what happened to Jesus from 14 to 30. Well, it was actually 13 to 30, but I'm gonna leave that alone because they just skip all the way to 30. Oh, Jesus is back. Where'd you get these powers from? How do you think he got the powers in the first place? You think if that's the case, he would have been Superman and lifting up cars with a pinky at birth. That's not in the Bible. You got to understand he had to work on himself. We all need to work on ourselves. That's his point. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men, not the actual man, but the spirit man, to become a holy man. In order to become holy, the Trinity must occur. The mind, the body, the soul must connect in order for you to be holy. That's when the Holy Spirit comes in and kicks in into your life. Yo, I'm tripping. My bad. Y'all think I'm going crazy? I ain't gonna say nothing. Go ahead, word. Go ahead. You touch on that. I'm good.
And people get that confused too because of the teaching. It's really not holy, it's becoming whole. You combining your spirit and your soul. So you gotta be whole, not holy. People use holy because when you become whole, you become of divine nature. Your nature become divine. You be whole. So you start thinking right and doing right and feeling right. Everything start working and that's your trinity. When you become whole. Most people be at internal conflict because the way they feel is different from the way they think. You would do something and feel bad about it, but when you was doing it, you felt good about it. When you thought about it, felt good, but after it's done, you feel bad because you realize it's wrong. The internal navigation system, your soul told you, like, hey, you know that wasn't right, right? But now you got internal conflict because the consciousness and the soul is at conflict. It just become a whole, man. It's just work. It's work, work, work. People don't want to put the work in. They want to be of the flesh. So you got to deal with those consequences and repercussions of the flesh, man. You got to deal with that feeling disconnected from the divine. That's why people weaponize religion. They try to make other people feel bad so they can feel good, but it never do nothing for them. They still don't realize that, and they still do that shit, bro. That's why I ain't debating this shit. Whatever you choose to do to make you a better version of you, do that. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You just do you. That's what I be trying to tell people, bro. They be like, oh, because you think like this, you tell people, bro, come to my channel, bro. I talk about applicable shit, things you can actually do, psychology, philosophy. I talk about that. And I don't never tell people they bad for not thinking like me. That's y'all motherfuckers, bro. I don't be doing that shit. I don't care if you believe in the Smurfs, bro. If that's making you a better version, that's what resonates with you, bro. That's how you understand life, man. We all go understand from different perspectives. I just be trying to share mine. That's it.
That's good. This is how I just lost my train of thought because I'm just like it's amazing how people don't want to have that challenge. They they don't want to work like you said, right? I'm gonna say it like this: if you if you want to if you believe that Jesus is the Christ, right? If you apply this to yourself, just apply whatever Jesus done. Y'all tell me, this is my challenge. If you apply whatever Jesus did to your life, right? This is for all the Christians that went to church and celebrated Easter, the resurrection, whatever you call it, the Passover for the old for the Old Testament people, because y'all don't believe in Jesus yet, or whatever the case may be. If you apply what Jesus did into your life, y'all tell me if your spirit has arisen and you are separating yourself from religion, or is the religious aspect is elevating in you and the spiritual side is decreasing. Y'all, that's my challenge to y'all, right? I want y'all to go ahead and see what happens with that, right? And if I'm wrong, y'all please tell me I'm wrong. I love correction. I love correction. I'm not going to debate it with you. I'm not going to do none of that. I'm not going to have to, because I'm going to have the understanding ear of how it worked for you. But I'm just suggesting when it occurs, because some of y'all, if you take the challenge, if it occurs, right, when it occurs and it goes the way that it's supposed to go, you don't have to say I'm right. I'm just imploring you to say it was right, because if it's right, you are going to make yourself better and you're going to make somebody else better. That's how one reaches 1,000. When you apply something to yourself and you become the better version of yourself, somebody your walk, the overflow that's coming from out of you is your testimony. That's going to resonate with somebody else. That's why they tell you if you have a problem with drinking, go to you got to have a sponsor. What is a sponsor? Someone that has gone through what you need to go through and to keep you on the straight and narrow. He's actually a fisher of men, that sponsor, because he's trying to keep you on the up and up. So that would be my challenge to you. That's just an example of it being right. It's going to keep you away from the religious aspect, and your spirit is going to tell you if it's right. Your spirit is going to tell you because your conscience, which is your first preacher in the first place, is going to connect with your spirit, and then it's going to connect with your body. That's the trinity. That's the triangle in your life. And when you got those three together, I promise you, you will have a different outlook on things. Or dare I say, your third eye is going to open. That's a part of the religion of that should be a part of religion, but it's more spiritual than religion. This is why the confrontations between spirituality and religion is going to keep going. The same way you got the problem with religion and science is you're going to have the same way with spirituality and religion. I ask you I ask you to put that to the test. If it works for you, it works for you. If I'm wrong, it's okay that I'm wrong, right? But if it works for you, you can help me become a better person if I'm wrong. That's the improvement that we all need. That's the elevation that we all need. But a lot of you don't want to take the challenge. You just want to say it's wrong because you don't want to do the work. I need to see how God works in your life. You don't even want to know him. So why would you think he's going to work for you if you don't want to know him? If you go into a marriage with a prenup, you ain't looking for the good. You already going in there with doubt, and it's going to not work. I just need to protect myself. When you have that confidence that nothing can hurt you, that spirituality gives you, you're gonna understand there's nothing that's being added to you is going to hurt you. And if something does hurt you, your spirituality is going to allow you to heal so it could continue to grow at the same time. But like I said, I might be going too far. I may not know what I'm talking about, but I challenge you to apply it to yourself and see if it works for you.
Man, people ain't gonna apply that shit, bro. This is what people gonna say. I'm telling you, bro. I mean, I ain't gonna say all, but this is what people be saying. Well, Jesus is perfect. I ain't perfect. That's what they always say. They do. I can't be perfect like they don't even try. They just think they gotta love Jesus, and that's why when they about to die, they be all scared and shit because they know they done fucked up. They ain't
But
do the
guess
work.
but guess who else? But guess who else was scared to die? Jesus. He got on the cross and God, God, why is thou forsaken me? He called himself though. Oh, wait a minute. Let your will be done, God. He said that. I didn't say it.
Let your will be done.
Let
Yo,
your
I'm
will
out of
be
here,
done.
bro.
But why are you forsaking me? Oh, yo, I came. I was in my flesh real quick. My bad. Let your
And
will
be
be done.
honest, bro, even I ain't even gonna talk about that. But to be honest, Jesus never really said that, bro.
I'm just saying.
That's something
It's in the
Joshua
Bible.
said.
So
Yeah,
that's
but
what I'm saying. I got you.
Joshua said that shit first, bro. Joshua, that's why they got it mixed up because Yeshua meant Joshua too.
And it okay.
But we
So
ain't even
even if
gonna
you
talk
want to,
about that.
no,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go there for you. I'm gonna go there for you, and I'm gonna just ask the people this question. Those of you that follow Christianity, my question is this: who got you to the promised land? I
Mm.
want y'all to think before y'all answer that question. Y'all just heard what he said. I asked the question on top of that. Who got you to the land of milk and honey? And like I told y'all before answering that, even in the testimonies, there's three names that well, it's two names that come from the book from the Exodus of Egypt, into the promised land. And two names is going to occur, but one name is going to be significant to you because he is of the tribe of Judah. And y'all know Judah means praise, and when you praise, you know God is supposed to receive all of that. That means there's an elevation in you. But look up his name, because he, guess what? He changed his name too. But I ain't gonna tell y'all this. But y'all go ahead, cause y'all gonna see your first name, and then y'all gonna see that name later. Yo, take them to the promised land. I ain't gonna make it. I did something I wasn't supposed to do. But you being of elevated person, not making the mistake that I made, I need you to get them to the promised land. What's his name? I ain't gonna tell you his name. I want y'all to do the work. And if, like I said, y'all can hit the community post if I'm wrong and that name wasn't the name that was just spoken. Put it on the community wall. You can at me. I'm just trying to show y'all the conversation is on the right track, right? We are not just here making this up. I know some people want to say that this is what do they call it? A cult, an occult type situation. It's not an occult type situation. All I'm saying is apply it to yourself. If it works for
Mm,
you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Guess what? I'm still here. I'm gonna be here, right? And I'm still gonna. And if I rock with you, I'm not running away from it. I'm still gonna be in your chat. I'm not upset with you. I'm not that type of person. I'm a type of person I could take correction, right? I could take constructive criticism. I could construct on my wrongs. I could elevate from my wrongs. That's a part of the resurrection that we're talking about. You overcoming the adversity of being wrong. And if y'all didn't remember this, I always said adversity makes you more diverse. I have said that before. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all. All of my messages is connecting in, even if it's just a small spark. That's what we're talking about, being a spark. If it's just a spark, it all connects in one way, shape, form, or fashion. If it doesn't, I mean, I know I got over 100 videos and lives and things like that. I know you all might not want to take the time. Try to get a message from it if you can. If it all connects, then it's right. I'm not right, it's right. It's something that was given to me. If y'all want to say it's divine, okay, that's what y'all say it is. That's cool. I'm just saying it's right. I'm not right, it's right. I'm just saying. But go ahead and ask that question. If y'all want to answer that question, y'all go ahead and answer that question. Who is the person that got you to the promised land? If it's the same name as the person we're talking about right now with the resurrection, do y'all believe in coincidence, or are y'all going to take it for what it is? That's not me. I'm just asking a question. I'm just saying it's not me. The special guest, the special panelist over there, it said what he said. I asked a question after that. If it's the same name, so if it's right, we're on the same page together. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to make you a better you. And by you becoming a better you, that makes us a better us. Because we're trying to get cohesion. We're trying to make this thing work for everybody, not just for somebody, but everybody. So those who are going to apply it. If it don't fit, just acquit it. Let it go. But this is what the 9% do. Shout out to the 9. Shout out to my 33 brother over here. We gonna do well. I'm gonna do something special for him this week, right? Because he getting old. Y'all know what I'm saying? I'm gonna shout him out this week. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't know. You got any final words for this? I think they may be tired of hearing us. You got any final words for this?
in Chicago cooking in the chat though, she right. You know, the Bible is about individual stories and individual journeys, giving you different paths and views on how to handle different, I mean, similar things. So she right because you see, mainly everybody in the Bible has similar trials and tribulations. And a lot of them took different paths, but they ultimately led to the same place. You know, it's the journey, man. That's what it's teaching us. It's the journey that makes us who we are.
I'm in
At the
Chicago. I don't know why I
destination.
can't see you in the chat. I don't know what's going on. That's what I'm saying. My thing is messing up. I ain't even see no Miss Chicago was here. My bad, Miss Chicago. How you feeling? Go ahead.
Yeah, but not too right, man. And then like we all create our own Bible, bro. Through our own individual journeys, and we can all create books in the Bible from the lessons and experiences that we have in life. It ain't
Because,
really stopped, bro. It ain't stopped. We just think it did, but we create our own Bible, bro.
but
Believe it
that's
or not.
I agree with that 100%, right? Because we was told. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We are told that these are the Gospels. Those four books. Those are
Mm-hmm.
testimonies of what Jesus did for them in their life. The walk with Jesus. That's their
Mm-hmm.
testimony, right? That's their
Mm-hmm.
what we would call an experience, right? That's what we call
Mm-hmm.
that, right? That's how we get to know who God is because of an experience. Just because you didn't have an experience, that's why you may disagree with the religious aspect of it. But when your spirit is touched, you can understand other spiritual situations, right? That's why even if I ain't trying to sound crazy or nothing. If you said you saw a ghost, you saw a ghost because you saw it spiritually. You understand what I'm saying? Your spiritual aspect picked it up because you on the spiritual side of things. So your testimony of your actions with God or how God is connected to you is would give you the experience. Until then, you may not believe in God because you have not had that personal experience. But the spirituality side, that's how you know the experience exists because your spirit is being touched by another spirit, excuse me. Whether it's divine or not, I cannot answer that. You are going to know if it's divine or not. Because if it's divine, it's going to alter the way you think about spirituality to where you either going to follow it or you're going to separate from it. But until you have that experience, you're not going to have the spirituality point, period. Is I'm not going to say that's the meaning of atheist. I just think that's what an atheist has to go through. They don't have that spiritual experience to where it's divine or not. So they're not going to understand if God exists or not. But I can understand them because the spirituality is telling me they have not had the spiritual experience yet. So it's not up to me. You see what I'm saying? It's up to the individual that has to go through that.
That's nice, bro. I appreciate you having me up, man.
Oh, no
I'm
doubt,
glad
no doubt.
hearing
Y'all go ahead for most of y'all know my 33 brother. Y'all, we just had, shout out to him. He be a busy man during the day, but the man be cooking in the early mornings, late night. Y'all go ahead and check him out. That's his terminology. A better you is a better us. That's where I heard it from. I just know it because I see it on an everyday basis. So y'all check out the word, the word 9%. I ain't gonna say he the leader, but he's not a Pied Piper. He's the one that resonates with the better you, better us version. So y'all go ahead and check him out. I appreciate you coming up. Uh, you know,
I don't even know how to drop.
dang, you don't know how
I'm
to drop. You stop
I
tripping,
didn't
bad.
get the thing. But I think I found it. But I
Uh,
appreciate you, bro.
alrighty. Yeah, y'all bear with me. I'm on it. Like I said earlier, I'm on a new what you call it? I'm on eMux, right? Because like I said, Mr. 33, he was doing a little bit of moving around yesterday, talking about sports and entertainment and doing some live broadcasting for to pretty much give to the subscribers what he thought will make up for him not being available over the weekend, right? Uh, family comes first when it comes to Mr. 33. I'm the same. I am Mr. 33 to be honest with you, but that's my alter ego, right? So I took this weekend. I took this weekend to spend time with the elders, because without them, I understand I couldn't be on the path that I am. They gave me the guidance of allowing me to have the willingness to walk the walks that I'm walking. If I was wrong, they would chastise me, build me up to, hey, you going the wrong way. I need you to turn around and get on the path you're supposed to go on. That's how a lot of us honor the ancestors, right? You resurrect their memories by doing the things that you want, that you know they would want you to do, right? So me visiting with the ancestors this entire weekend, I was not available to have conversations or to do content the way that I wanted to do. So I decided to give back the best way that I felt that I could give back as Mr. 33. Right? So at the end of the day, y'all, I'm telling y'all, you know what? There needs to be a surrection. Today I said insurrection has to happen within you, not the actual definition that they have established as something against the government. The insurrection within you is the things that used to govern you. You can have that fight to overtake your logical way of being. That's the insurrection that I was talking about today, right? And I, like I said, for me, the insurrection occurred when I understood that spirituality was something totally different from religion, and I view it as such because there's just a difference to it, right? When you are spiritual, you can understand religion, but if you religious, you may not understand the spirituality side of things. But if you, that's why for me, spirituality is more of a importance than the religious side of things. So that's what I pretty much have to say about that. Shout out to everybody that was here. I promise you, I apologize if I missed anybody in the comments. Like when he said Miss Chicago was here, Miss Chicago, charge it to my don't charge it to my heart. I appreciate when you come through. I truly have. I don't see you on here on from this studio aspect, but I do appreciate everybody that came in. Uh, as far as the Pope, he had a family. Uh, I pray that his family they get through this process of mourning that they have to go through. Condolences to his family and loved ones, to the people that follow him. My condolences go out to you as well. Uh, but I just pray that he's in a better place than where he left. Right? We know that heaven is supposed to be better than earth. So I pray that he actually went up there. Right? Uh Once again, my condolences to those that follow the Pope. Uh I'm just telling y'all, it's time for us to have a resurrection within ourselves. I'm saying insurrection because a lot of us is governed by the outside instead of the inside. We are governed by religion instead of by our spirits. But if we allow our spirits to resurrect, we know that we will all be on the right track. And that's where I want everybody to be. Because that's what the person who had the resurrection would want for you as well. Continue to be a blessing to those that you encounter. Continue to be a plus and not a minus. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you all. Have a good one. Mhm.